Welcome. Good morning. We are so happy to have you all here with us this morning. As everyone is joining us, please use the chat box to say hello and tell us your name, your role, and something you're excited about for spring break. Plans for maybe you're going somewhere cold, maybe you already are somewhere cold, doing some skiing, snowboarding, or maybe staying somewhere warm, maybe a beach, maybe a lake or checking out some of the different caverns around Texas. That's what I want to do at some point this spring. I know some of you are already on spring break, so thank you so much for joining us. Here in Austin, our spring break starts next week. So if you haven't planned anything yet, you still have time. During today's session, please use the Q&A to add your questions. It helps us keep track of your questions so we don't miss any. All right. Welcome, Claudia. Oh, heading to Vegas. That's awesome. That's the funnest one I've seen so far on here. Oh, Big Bend. Yes, that's great too. I wonder what the weather's like then at this time. But story for another day. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Just a few things for this morning's session. All of our webinars are recorded and will be sent out to you in our follow-up email. So if you have to step away for a second, if there's a student coming into your classroom or a child, if you're on spring break, no worries. We're going to send you the entire recording afterwards. As I mentioned, please use the Q&A function in Zoom to ask questions, and we'll answer some of those during the session as time allows. And then the ones that we don't get to right away, we'll be able to answer those during our Q&A session at the end. And you can also find our previous recordings on our website as well as on YouTube. So if you've missed something before, again, you can check us out there. So for today's session, we're super excited about, it's all about the curriculum. So the Texas OnCourse College and Career Readiness Curriculum aims to introduce our students to college and career topics as early as middle school. So you can use this in middle school as well as in high school. You will hear from one of our curriculum writers, Jamie, who will share the structure of the lesson and teaching strategies, the curriculum scope and the sequence, online student learning modules that support unit content, and how to use the Texas OnCourse Academy to enhance the curriculum lessons, as well as learn from one of our guest speakers, Yvonne Martinez, and how she implements the curriculum in her role. Thank you, Yvonne, for being here. And we're going to do some introductions here in a second, but just wanted to give you guys a heads up on what's happening, as well as an agenda, because who doesn't love an agenda? So we're going to do our welcome and introductions, and then we're going to, Jamie's going to go through the college and career readiness curriculum, and then we have our guest speaker, Yvonne, as well as Yvonne and Jamie are going to go through our curriculum resources and talk about the different TEKs that they align with, and then Lauren's going to go through our bright ideas that you guys contributed to us, which we really appreciate. Thank you so much. And our Academy Spotlight. And then we're going to go over some different Texas OnCourse resources and some of our upcoming events that we have, as well as our time for Q&A. So for those of you that haven't met us yet, we are the Professional Learning and Engagement Team within Texas OnCourse here at the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. My name is Andrea Panter. I am the Senior Network Coordinator and have the privilege of working with our Director, Laura Guggen, who is on the line to answer any questions, as well as Lauren Disher, our Professional Learning Coordinator, who helps orchestrate all of these sessions. Thank you, Lauren. And Jared Garza, our network coordinator, who will be sending out all of this information to you guys afterwards. So thank you, Jared, for doing that. It's going to include all of the resources we talked about, the recording of the session, as well as the slide deck. And then we love our amazing intern, Ariana Wells. And so I'm going to go ahead and just give a moment for our guest speakers to introduce themselves.
Yeah, hi everybody. I am Jamie Bell. I am the curriculum writer, and I've been working with Texas OnCourse since 2018. at writing, mainly focusing on middle school content, updates, curriculum, anything related to getting kids ready for college and career readiness, topics for high school, laying that foundation. Prior to this, I was a middle school teacher for 10 years, teaching science, and I also wrote curriculum for my district and trained educators on that curriculum. So this is my wheelhouse. I love it, and I'm so happy to be here today. Thank you.
Well, good morning. My name is Yvonne Martinez, and I am the College and Career Military Readiness Advisor at Tom C. Clark High School in Northside ISD in San Antonio, Texas. I have been with the district for 13 years now. In total, my career has been 33 years. I started way back, and I've taught in both public and private. Since my husband is retired military, we moved all around the world, and I didn't have my certifications in all the different places, including Alaska. So I substituted and I actually taught in private schools. I am so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Ron and Jamie. As we get started, I just wanted to let you guys know what our mission here at Texas OnCourse is to provide advising professionals with the resources and community they need to deliver exceptional college and career advising to every student. So all of the materials that we produce, all of the trainings that we host at Texas OnCourse, we always begin with this end in mind, that the work that we're doing is to help our students have a valuable plan after high school. So the users of our tools include middle and high school counselors, teachers, administrators, and of course, community-based organizations that focus on post-secondary success. And we also provide a lot of resources for our students and their families. All right, so before we get started, I do want to ask you guys a quick question. How much experience do you have with the college and career readiness curriculum? And I'm going to launch a quick poll. For you all to answer. Do you feel like you're a beginner? Maybe this is the first time you're hearing about the curriculum. We noticed a lot of the folks that registered mentioned that they haven't implemented the curriculum yet, but would like to know more about what it is and how to implement it, which is awesome. This is a free resource you can immediately start to incorporate into your planning. All right, it looks like we have a lot of beginners. Awesome. Our curriculum is continuously being updated, aligned with the TEKS, which Jamie will talk more about. All right, Jamie, you can take it away.
Thank you, Andrea. So I'm going to start with a high level since we do have a lot of beginners or people who haven't experienced, not beginners in your career, but with this curriculum specifically. So just at a high level, the College and Career Readiness curriculum is a great resource for middle school educators who want to start teaching or introducing their students to college and career topics. Each unit includes lesson plans, descriptions, student activities, assessment items as well. These lessons can be incorporated in career success classes like AVID or economic classes or history classes. There's, lessons that would align with math TEKS as well. And in any of the core classes. So it can be dispersed amongst different teachers or used in one class. The curriculum is designed for middle school students, but I do think some of these activities would be useful for high school students as well. So there are 4 units with corresponding online student modules that are free to access. It's just a link that they have access to. You can kind of see the link hyperlinked in the scope and sequence image there. But if you want to go to the next slide, please. So Like I said, it can be taught in a variety of ways. I also think advisory or like a homeroom time would be an appropriate place to utilize some of these lessons. Um, um, sorry, let me catch up with my notes. We have different implementation guides or different kind of scope and sequences that can be utilized if you're wanting to kind of pick and choose lessons. It can be used for 6th, 7th, and 8th, either in semester or year-long classes, and high school as well. So about some of the updates, we've streamlined the flow. We've reduced some of the lessons if you've used it a few years ago at this point, really focusing in on the defining college and career readiness, understanding, laying that foundation of what does it mean to be college and career ready for middle schoolers so that they know what they're preparing for in high school. We have clickable links inside of the curriculum, online student modules that align with the classwork for students through H5P links if you're familiar with those. But and you can find all of this in the download link that will be sent out in that resource that Jared will send. Next. So just a high level overview of the way the curriculum was designed with backwards design in mind, where we work first on what does this student understand about themselves. A lot of Unit 1, envisioning success, is about self-discovery and what the student wants to do in the future. Also, just the skills you need for future success, interpersonal skills, intrapersonal skills, goal setting. Those are the foundation to prepare the student for career exploration. And then Unit 2 is career pathways, explaining career clusters, how to research careers, how to find a career that fits in an area of interest. Sometimes you have an area of interest, but maybe what your capabilities are or what your true interest in doing day to day look different. So finding a career that could match that. Unit 3 is about post-secondary education. So continuing to work backwards from self-discovery to what do I need to do post-secondarily to get ready for the career that I have selected. But also laying the foundation of like, what are post-secondary options that are available for me? And then finally, Unit 4 is getting them ready for what they're going to see in high school, getting ready for my next steps. This final unit encompasses graduation requirements and preparing students for selections they'll make in high school. Next. So here are some example screenshots from the Unit 1 Envisioning Success student modules that are online. There are activities to help students start learning about the college and career process. There are fill-in-the-blank lessons, brainstorming activities for students. They can go through these modules and start making informed decisions about what they want to do and where they want to go. And it really is a guide that walks them through that process. If they choose, if it's something you choose to have them do independently outside of class, or even, you know, with you in a computer lab setting or laptop setting, that's fine as well. So I'm going to do a quick, not so quick, live demo to show you so what the lessons look like, what they really feel like when you see them. So is everybody able to see? It should say lesson 1, 1.6. Yeah, good. Okay, so thank you, Andrea. So this is what the lesson plan looks like. It's a very standard lesson plan template. I very much used understanding by design. So if that's something you also align with, it's great. I put everything up at the top that, you know, if admin walks in, this is what they want to see. So I have the learning objectives, our essential questions, the driving questions for the unit, materials you'll need, the enduring understandings of what we want the students to take away, an estimated time, and then other class materials you'll need. I also put in at the top the TEKS that align with the lesson, the college and career readiness TEKS, the cross-disciplinary standards, as well as other student competencies for success that align within that lesson. And then it's a very straightforward procedure of what to have students do when they're going to have independent work, or if we're introducing a new concept, new material, that's highlighted and how to do that. Again, independent activity, partner activity, and what to do. Closures are there as well. I will say there is an estimated time, but I also think these lessons work choosing one piece of these activities to do and just sticking with that. If you want to reduce the time, or if you end up thinking it'll take longer, I think it's really helpful to see where you could break up the lesson by the activity itself. So there's that. I also have put in some extension opportunities or any sort of differentiations that might be helpful. Some lessons have a lot, some lessons have fewer. It just depends on the lesson and what I thought might be a helpful note. So if you have new teachers that are new to this curriculum or new to this topic area, this might be a helpful insight for them. And this is an example of what a student work could look like. So this is the resume lesson. And how do you get kids to write a resume who have done nothing maybe pertaining to what they're interested in or a career before? So I wrote, here's what you write. Here's an example of that. I also really think it's important to put examples and non-examples. So list of skills that pertain to the job or your career objective. So maybe they're a strong swimmer, but that doesn't really pertain to them being a veterinarian. So then put in their extracurriculars, any accomplishments that they've done or are proud of that show more of those interpersonal skills, hard worker, timely, those type of thing, and then their education, when they expect to graduate, or any certifications that they have. So this would be an example of like what a student template would be that would follow a lesson plan. We also have a goal setting lesson. Again, everything they need up at the top about how long it would take. I do understand after having taught, some classes you're like, oh, they'll do this in about 60 minutes. Oh no, this class will need, 3 days to do this. I understand there's a wide range, but we tried to capture kind of an in-between of what we put there. And again, the TEKS cross-disciplinary standards. And then a procedure. I like to put in a lot of examples, but again, you can write your own. So in this one, introducing students to the idea of a SMART goal, also the difference between a short and a long-term goal. Those are important. So we have building in a lot of examples, pull the class of the difference between the short and the long-term goal, a YouTube video link to a short-term or how to set a short and long-term goal. And I did put a note in there. I tried to put in notes when applicable, but this is intended for a high school audience, but still appropriate for middle school. And then ask the students. I like to do a lot of prep with the students, getting them familiar with different language I might use later when checking their work. This seems pretty vague. Well, let's talk about what the word vague means prior to doing your independent work. Again, this one has more extension opportunities of where you could build in more examples for students, more differentiations, and also when applicable, I put in some formative assessment, checks for understandings. I see there's Q&A. If somebody wants to read those, I'm welcome to stop me at any time. So we have, and this is an example of a student activity sheet. So I really like the, we do, you do format. So this was a class example where as a class we go through a goal and the students pick out the long and short-term goal. And then asking, was she successful in writing this goal? Why or why not? Then have the students work in pairs on an example. Have a student review a goal individually by themselves, and then finally write their own short and long-term goals. Final thing I want to show is what a unit overview looks like prior to starting the individual lessons. So we've written out just the overview, the purpose of the unit. What are our driving questions? What do we want students to take away 20 years from now? What are they going to remember? And then big ideas and key concepts that are within, plus the performance assessment that the students will do at the end if you choose to do it. So this one is creating a personal portfolio, which is a TEK. So we wanted to make that like a big assessment item in the curriculum. Again, this is for post-secondary education readiness. So we have the unit overview, essential questions, how do educational choices connect with long-term goals and visions for my life, the enduring understandings, and then big ideas and key concepts that really I think would be great to post at the beginning of the units or the beginning of the topics to talk. And then we do have them create a pennant of where they want to go, the schools that they're interested in as their performance assessment and why. So I'm going to stop sharing. Thank you guys. And thank you for bearing with me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jamie. And we did have a couple questions come
Oh,
through, and Yvonne
Yes.
answered them. Thank you so
Oh,
much,
great.
Yvonne. And if you want to add anything to those two questions, if you don't mind taking a quick peek at
Yeah,
those, and then I'm gonna set us up with another Zoom.
Q&A. Are there similar units for high school students? Similar units for high school students, I think, yes, these I do think could be used and relevant for high school. It says middle school. The TEKs are 7th and 8th grade, but there are similar TEKs for high school students and the graduation requirements, and I think these could be used as well.
Jamie, can you put me back to host, please?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yvonne answered the questions, right? Correct. Yes.
Perfect.
Okay.
So how do you envision yourself implementing the college and career readiness curriculum? Now that Jamie's gone over all of that, I am going to launch a quick Zoom poll for you guys. And this one's open-ended, and you can actually put it in the chat too if you want to, while I get this ready. So we'll just use the chat for this one. So guys, if you don't mind just putting in, how do you envision yourself implementing the college and career readiness curriculum? And we're going to hear from Yvonne and how she's been implementing it currently. All right. And I'll kick it over to you, Yvonne.
Well, good morning. My name is Yvonne Martinez, and welcome to our belief session in all things college, career, military readiness. I teach at Tom C. Clark High School, and I am considered what you would call a CCMA. Next slide. So at Clark, I take care of many things, but these are the majority of them. There's several that are not on here anymore, but we've just recently added. So we've recently added CCMR that makes sure that every student in the senior class and in the junior class are good to go for TEA standards when it comes to college readiness. So they've either surpassed a TSI test or they have done other things for SAT and their scores are good, or they're actually signing a military contract. So as you can see, some of my goals are to make sure they have preparation for both the SAT, ACT, and the TSI. I take care of all of applications for colleges, all of financial aid and scholarships. I take care of the college and career fairs. We just had my career fair right before spring break because I'm on spring break right now, and we had over 47 representatives at our school. We have the U.S. Armed Forces and do an ASVAB 2 times a year, and that helps with the assessments so that the students can further along their career exploration. Next slide. It is important that when you are in high school, and I do use it in middle school, that you stay connected. That is how parents and students can remember to have a deadline on their phone, or if something important comes out in X, which used to be known as Twitter, the universities are going to immediately send it out in their social media, and that is one way I keep my kids informed. Go ahead. So you can use what this little sheet, this worksheet. I use it with my 6th, 7th, and 8th graders when I'm going to present to them in the middle schools, or even maybe sometimes even the 5th graders in elementary schools when I am asked to go present to let them know what I do as a career. And what, in essence, I turn it around and I use it in high school to give extra points of research. So, for instance, because there was an update with UT Austin recently this past year of becoming 5% automatic admissions, assured admissions, I make sure to tell my juniors and seniors that year that guess what? Things have changed just a little bit. And in addition to that, I also had to explain to them that they had to be college ready, performance-wise on calculus ready, even if they wanted to go into some of the liberal arts majors at UT Austin. So every little state is a little different. Every little university and college, including community colleges, are a little different. And if I have those nuggets, I pass them on. So that's how I use this particular little worksheet. Go ahead.
And just to kind of piggyback off of what Yvonne is saying, which is a great point and something to continue this theme of starting early, laying the foundation, getting, that college and career readiness prep started, is supported in those 7th and 8th grade TEKS. We have lessons in the curriculum around the types of colleges and degrees that you can find, but also awareness of financial aid and what are requirements for that. And we have a lesson on that as well in our financial aid lesson. So that's really great.
It is imperative that we now realize that direct admissions are starting, not even just with seniors, but with juniors. Recently, within my district, we took our top 25% of our junior class and had to get consent for them to be able to actually speak with and correlate with UTSA. And so the direct admissions on My Texas Future is imperative to learn about in all aspects, whatever grade, because it allows them to get past the concept of what if I don't get in? When it happens, all of a sudden there's an awareness that the student can do what they truly want to do in a future that was not as lit as we would like it to be. So I'm very grateful that My Texas Future has those websites. In addition to that, I take care of all the scholarships. If you notice, there's a YouTube QR code. It will take you to the raise.me video, and I share that with every grade that I can because micro scholarships are important. Some of the ones that we use at Clark High School are the San Antonio Area Foundation. Some are only for juniors, some are only for seniors. Others are for the rest of the grades. In other words, you can find scholarships when you're 5 years old. You just have to know where to find them. And so we've given you some resources here. Next slide. The raise.me allows you to start the summer before your 9th grade year. So that's why I think it's so important to remind our middle school students and through our My Texas curriculum and stuff that it is imperative that they keep track of their community service hours, that they learn to give of themselves because it is important for leadership positions. It's important in resumes. It's important in applications for colleagues and universities. But what people don't realize is it's really, really important in obtaining external scholarships in addition to the merit.
Yes, and we that is brought up in the curriculum with the in the TEKS and in the curriculum with our financial aid lesson, just laying that groundwork of understanding where they can access those funds and what the different types of funding that they can get.
Too important, too important. Next slide. So I'm sure everyone has their special places for volunteer services for all ages. These are some of the ones that we pass out at Clark High School. Several of our students are on these, but what people forget is that even through COVID, volunteer services were going on. Some of our kids actually put technology to use and actually were able to videotape themselves reading books for younger students, for people who didn't have time to read to their children because they were frantically working. And just realize that all that plus more is giving of your time and that it needs to be documented. Next slide.
Yeah, agreed. We have a lot of lessons that focus on the value of community service, volunteering, but also the importance of at these young ages when you don't have a job or career, documenting these skills that you're acquiring and learning and demonstrating. I'm thinking very specifically, we have a lesson where students create a web of, their life and how the things are connected to them that they do, not just related to school, but outside of that as well. So we have a lot on that as well. And there are TEKs that support that. So that's great.
Creating your digital resume, going back to My Texas Future, just like we did with middle school, we have to include all of our activities from the summer before 9th grade. But I incorporate QR codes. So this QR code with the Texas Star has UT Austin's Bevo template on it and shows how important the days, the times, the years, the months, whatever you can put down is important. Sometimes my students, in addition to this resume or the QR codes, they create a QR code of an Excel sheet showing them and others who they have actually worked for, giving it time and giving important information out. QR codes are very important. They help generate all kinds of different things. And by keeping track of our community service hours, we can be able to name activities, positions, held years, weeks, the year of the week. We've always done it on paper, but it's just nicer to have it later on, because if you start early, you're not having to scramble the end of your junior year trying to get into your applications. Because remember, at the end of your junior years, when you start applying for universities, and if you can get through that hump, like we said, through those Texas admissions and the direct admissions, like My Texas Future has incorporated within their curriculum, it is one less thing for a senior to deal with and a parent to deal with. Getting into college is not the hardest thing in the world, but it is not easy. In addition to that, the hardest thing, though, is paying for that college, unless you have lots of good money sitting behind you. So I tell my kids all the time, we have to dream and believe at the same time. Next.
And so I think Yvonne perfectly encapsulated why we need to help students create a resume and the importance of it. Obviously, TEA thinks it's important as well. It is one of our TEKs in there, and we have lessons and a resume template. I think the idea of having a virtual one that students can easily access and quickly add things on the fly and make notes on is a great idea. So, which is the point of this webinar today, is to give some really good, useful, practical tips and tricks. And that's a good one, Yvonne. Thank you.
So we've given some career pathways when the students are younger, especially in elementary, 5th grade, going into 6th, 7th, and 8th. I go through not only the career pathways of My Texas Future, so that they can see the difference between the 16 clusters, to make sure that they become familiar with the vocabulary, the knowledge, the skills, any other characteristic that might be needed, such as formal education levels, training, wage levels, ability of benefits. We use My Texas Reality. And then in addition to that, there are also information, sorry, I went blank. There's also military information and ASVAB tests to help our students identify which cluster they're best suited for. Recently, the ASVAB was for 3 hours long and you had to sit and take a test, but now it's actually only an hour and a half where you can sit and take it on a computer, and they immediately find out their scores. And so I think that in conjunction with everything else that we're doing, it is imperative to help our students find their little pathway as soon as possible. Not to say that it won't change throughout their career and growing up, but just giving them those ideas to dream and believe in themselves. Next.
Yeah, the importance of investigating a career pathway within career clusters is really important, of students visualizing actual steps to get to where they want to be. We do have TEKs around career clusters and the academic requirements to, pursue careers in those clusters, technical skill requirements, and we have lessons on career clusters that are in the curriculum that definitely get students to start thinking about those steps.
As a CCMA readiness, it is part of my duty because of TEA and the knowledge to pass down, not just to juniors and senior parents, but to the 8th graders, 9th grade, and 10th, the financial vocabulary that comes along with creating and taking care of business for the FAFSA and the TASFA that are here in the state of Texas. So FAFSA is your financial aid packet, and it is for those who are American citizens or eligible to be American citizens. So someone with a green card, things like that. And TASFA is for someone who is not an American citizen. So those vocabulary, it's imperative. Right now, we are seeing a huge impact on our college and career military readiness actual job to make everybody CCMA ready. And this is one of the ways that will help our students become better at finding the financial aid and the scholarships that they need once they are seniors in high school. Next. Applying for colleges are always important. We use the Apply Texas application, which is part of My Texas Future and the My Direct admissions option. In addition to that, we can use the Common App for both flagship Texas universities and out-of-state colleges. It opens up August 1st. And what you need to know is that you can, if you don't like either one of those platforms, you can go and use the actual college website. They usually have their own application online. Make sure you're doing a little bit of prior research to applying to learn about the admission requirement about each individual university or community college, because some of them are all a little different. Some of them, because of COVID, are now SAT or ACT test optional. And now, because that time frame has gone or past us a little bit, some of these universities are actually going back to taking SAT scores and ACT scores, not necessarily for admissions, but for scholarship purposes. Next. My advice to all my students is to apply to at least 4 universities, especially those that do not have application fees. Remember, those are some of your private schools, such as Baylor, such as UIW. Texas has several private universities that do not have any of those fees, so that you can turn in your letters and recommendations to me later. In addition to that, we don't forget, we need a screenshot of being processed and submitted for your FAFSA, of the 25-26 FAFSA. Now remember, we do everything 1 year in advance for college, so that's why it says 25-26. And once I get that email from you, then I respond and tell you finished your high school TEA graduation requirements. And if y'all have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out to me. Let's see, next. This past year and for the past 2 years, we've opened up a little past December 1st, but hopefully the FAFSA will be back on track as October 1st. I've heard some of the universities already talking about it, and so we're grateful that we're going back to the October 1st deadline. Next.
Yes, so Varn has mentioned the graduation requirements are the reason that we need to have our students complete the task for FAFSA or the opt-out form. And we have put the official State Board of Education and TEA language on the screen there. But this is also can be found in the social studies TEKS, the personal financial literacy and economics education, or sorry, standards. But that is the importance. It is a graduation requirement.
So most of your schools have an SAT or ACT college day. And when we have that at our north side, we encourage our students to make sure that they send out their transcripts as soon as possible, and in addition to their SAT scores, as soon as they can. Those SAT and ACT and have 4 free send scores, and so make sure that you do that. Next. It is imperative that we remember not all our students have a lot of money, but they do have a lot of benefits if they are not so they're not doomed. They have free or reduced lunch, and the reality is those four free fee waivers, that's a tongue twister, guys, can help you with the unlimited SAT score sends that normally cost $14 to $16 to send. You get 2 SAT fee waivers. We no longer at Clark have SATs on the Saturdays, but we do have ACTs, and so you'll have to find the one closest to your home to attend. And in addition to that, we need to make sure that you keep working towards the SAT and ACT prep, which you can do some free downloading with Khan Academy, and download the free app for studying at College Board, and make sure that you know who and what and where is test optional and the requirements for each school. Least but not last, we have our military branches, the Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, Coast Guard, and Space Force. I do talk to those, to all of the kids, because it's always an option, and it's always wonderful to know that somebody else is willing to pay for your college. But in addition to that, they do have academies that all of our students are eligible for. And so it's important that we let them know about these options too as a career.
Yes, just that is definitely one avenue that they can explore in our post-secondary options lessons as well.
So I share my Texas OnCourse College and Career Curriculum through grade level presentations, 9th to 12th, so it's over 2,800 students. I teach the vocabulary used to college application process, financial aid, and scholarship process to my AVID students and my senior seminars. The elementary and middle school college day and career fairs that I'm invited to within my district and out of my district for the past 3 years. And I definitely share them when we have our junior parent night and our senior parent night presentations. When the students come to me individually, I have to ask them different types of questions to help them figure out their individual pathway. And if they have no answers, then we log on to My Texas OnCourse, and we make sure that, and My Texas Future, that we know where we can go to help find those actual answers, because everyone is different. Everybody has a different pathway, and college is not for everybody, but if it is, I want to make sure that I help them get there debt-free. So in addition to all that, I take care of dual credit presentations sometimes within individual classrooms. Like at Clark, we have welding dual credit, we have culinary arts dual credit, individual sessions to help them actually apply to Apply Texas account. We do resume building and have financial aid workshops. I work with my presentations and helping my GT and AVID classes. And last but not least, I closely work with my counselor small groups for first generation students, especially college planning, scholarships, and financial aid help. If you would like to ask me any questions or need help, do not hesitate to reach out to me. I am on spring break. I will look at my emails, but no promises. It won't be until like 2 a.m. in the morning when I'm bored out of my mind. So I appreciate y'all having me today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Yvonne. You've been amazing, and I know we sprung this on you spring break.
Okay.
I appreciate you.
So we are going to quickly run through some other support items that the Texas OnCourse College and Career Readiness curriculum has. If you're looking for items for younger than 7th, 8th grade, I know I was speaking with someone, a CTE teacher in San Antonio, that was wanting things for 5th graders. We have Middle Galaxy. There is an implementation guide as well as a YouTube video where we, on our YouTube account, that goes into the details of how to use Middle Galaxy and walks you through how to set up a class, how to get your students in there. We do have lessons in the curriculum around Middle Galaxy. And then we also have for counselors and advisors a toolkit for implementing My Texas Future. And the curriculum together, they work hand in glove with different milestones, times, essential questions, and specific activities that you can use using My Texas Future and the curriculum as well. A great resource if you're wanting very specific lessons. And here's a screenshot of the toolkit that you can access that will be on the document that Jared will send out. And I believe he's putting the links in the chat as well. And then next. So here's some screenshots of the My Texas Future and the curriculum lessons that support it. My Texas Future does a great job walking students through exploring areas of interest, finding education that aligns to those interests, and then helping students understand how to attain that education. We have lessons that build around those features of My Texas Future, or MTF, like deep dive into career clusters, the financial aid lesson, as well as the types of college and degrees. So just high level, if you're not familiar, Middle Galaxy is an interactive online career exploration game that students can go in and not only play the game, but explore jobs that are relevant to the Texas market, maybe that they've never heard of. I always think of the one that's like the actuary. They've probably never heard that. So it's a great gamified way to get students to explore careers. And here's some lovely screenshots of the game itself. Very interactive. The different tasks that they have to complete. And then we have the career card on the next slide that shows the details of that career, what abilities and skills they have to use. And it's the crew member details, so the students can learn about the different jobs in a little bit more detail and in an interactive way. The lesson that we have to support that is Space Journal. And it's just a way for them to kind of document as they're going through the game, once they've been familiarized with it, a way for you to see what they're getting out of it. And it's kind of like the OG lesson, but I love it so much. If you want to access the College and Career Readiness curriculum, here's the QR code again, but it will be sent out later. I'm going to turn it over to Lauren.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jamie. And thank you, Yvonne. This has been such an amazing session so far. And I love all the reactions that everybody is putting up. I feel like that makes us a little bit more connected. So keep the reactions coming. It's been a lot of fun to see those. But yeah, let's go ahead and dive into our bright ideas. So really quickly, for those of you that might not be familiar with our bright ideas, during the webinar registration process, we ask a few questions. You guys respond, then we look through all of your responses and we share those responses with the group in our webinars, because we really want you guys to learn from each other and to hear what you guys are saying, because y'all are the experts. So the first question that we asked was, at what grade level do you find this curriculum most helpful? Now, this is really awesome that this question was in our registration process, because I saw a few people kind of asking, is this curriculum good for seniors? Is it for middle school? So as you can see, based on your responses, it's kind of great for all grade levels, which is pretty awesome. So I really wanted to illustrate your responses with this like nice colorful graph, so we could just really get this clear picture of what you guys are saying and how you're using the curriculum and at what grade levels. So you can see that 12th, 11th, and 10th grade are the most popular grades for the curriculum, which is really awesome to see. And I could not agree more. It's always great to refresh our students with these terms and concepts and this information so they can start to think about this college and career readiness and just going to a four-year university or community college, trade school, whatever it is that fits them. And then you guys are still using the curriculum in 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, as you can see, because as we all know, it never hurts to introduce our students to these kinds of things early. The second question that we asked was, how do you incorporate the Texas OnCourse College and Career Readiness curriculum into your planning? Again, you guys, we got some really great responses, and I will sound like a broken record, but I love reading y'all's responses, looking to see what you guys have to say. I think it's really, fun to just, look and see how you guys are using the tools that we have. So from all of your responses, I pulled the 3 most popular ways that you're using the curriculum. And the first one was during TSI boot camps. So what I did is I looked through the curriculum and kind of pulled some lessons out of specific units to go along with the specific activity. So if you are having a TSI boot camp, I recommend looking at Unit 1, Envisioning Success, because within that unit, you'll find Lesson 1.1, College and Career Readiness, Lesson 1.2, a reflection activity on what I want. What do your students want from life? What do they want to achieve? What are their goals? You have them start thinking about those things. And then lesson 1.7, setting those personal and academic goals so they can really start to visualize what they want their life to be, where they're going to need to go, what that's going to look like. The second and definitely the most popular response was through college and career planning lessons. This was such a great idea, such a great way to incorporate the curriculum. And for this activity, I suggest going to Unit 2, which focuses on career pathways. I know Jamie talked a lot about this one. This is such a great unit. They all are, but this one specifically has lesson 2.1, which focuses on those career clusters, lesson 2.4, career skills, and then lesson 2.5, building that personal portfolio. So your students can start thinking about what they need to kind of gather in order to have that, those applications filled out and what they're going to need. The third recommendation was in senior class presentations. Again, another great way to incorporate the curriculum. And for this one, we recommend Unit 3, Post-Secondary Education Readiness. I also saw a lot of people chatting about financial aid. Jamie brought this one up a couple times. We have a great lesson on financial aid. It's in Unit 3. We also have lesson 3.2, the value of a 4-year degree, so they can start seeing what that value looks like. And then lesson 3.3, types of colleges and degrees. So there's a ton of ways to incorporate these different activities and lessons within the curriculum in your educational practice. So the third bright idea that we have, the question that we asked, was what teaching strategies have benefited your students the most? I love a lot of things about the curriculum, but I think this is probably my favorite because you can really customize it to fit your teaching strategies and your needs. So based on your suggestions, I pulled 3 responses. The first was one-on-one and small group activity, interactive hands-on activities, and content review, and then full group discussion. So that's kind of the teaching strategies that you guys are using. Well, the best part about the curriculum is that you can customize the lessons to really fit what you need. So a lot of the lessons give options for whole group, individual, partner, or small group work, which is really nice because then you can, again, whatever your students need and what your class needs, what they thrive on, you can make that lesson for them. There's also a ton of tried and true teaching strategies within the curriculum, including red light, green light, gallery walks, know, want, learn activities, and reflection opportunities. So all kinds of great things within the curriculum that you guys can use in your classes, or if you don't have a class, pass on to a teacher who might benefit from some of these lessons for their class. So now we're going to jump into the Texas OnCourse Academy and our spotlight for today and how the Academy is also supporting the curriculum and our middle school students. So I know that all of you guys are very familiar with the Academy and get in there all the time, but for those of you that are not familiar, the Academy is a free resource with modules that focus on college and career planning. There are modules all on endorsements, graduation plans, career pathways, entrance exams, admissions, applications. I could go on. Everything that you could think of that has to do with college and career. Everything's free, it's all online, and you can go at your own pace. So today we're going to get a sneak peek of our new module, Exploring Career Pathways for Middle School. That's right, guys. I said sneak peek because the Academy is getting a huge upgrade. We are going through every single module. We're adding new content and activities and resources for educators. We are working really hard to update the Academy and make sure that everything is ready. We're hoping fall 2025, so get ready for that. But this is one of the new modules that you'll be able to find, and you can see some of the activities that are going to be included, including this types of self-awareness chart, because it's never too late to explore like your strengths and weaknesses, and you can give the self-awareness chart to students of all ages in advising conversations. And here's another sneak peek into our new advisor training materials. And this time it's a student resource. And this document really walks students through the process of self-reflection so that they can start career exploration. And with that, I will turn it back over to Andrea.
Thank you, Lauren. That was great. It really was. Thank you for sharing the sneak peeks. And we'll have some more sneak peeks coming up on April 8th. We're going to be covering the future of the Texas OnCourse Academy. So continuing on with our learning series, we have 2 more sessions this month. So we are, as Lauren mentioned, going to be enhancing the Academy for the 25-26 school year, which we're super excited about, and developing those new modules and adding different navigation tools to simplify your learning experience. And so during this session, we're going to have some interactive Academy overviews, as well as updates on the student-focused resources and some different unique implementation strategies. And then our next session will be on May 13th, which is building a college and career readiness culture. Sorry, that one's always a mouthful. And this one will just be working on preparing students for life beyond high school is crucial for all of future success. And so during this session, we really talk about how everyone can come together and collaborate on your campus, whether you're a PE teacher, a history teacher, maybe a math teacher, but just giving you guys the resources for everyone to come together to help prepare our students for success. So those 2 we have coming up April 8th. And again, these are both at 10 a.m. in the morning. On that second Tuesday, per usual. And then we also, in addition to our professional learning series, some of you may have participated in some of this, but we also have been hosting the My Texas Future Learning Institute. We created these learning sessions for you guys just to introduce My Texas Future. I know we've talked about it, where you can find it in the curriculum, and Yvonne's talked about how important it has been and how she implements it. But these sessions have been very, very great for all of our educators. So if you haven't been able to attend any of these sessions, you can definitely go back and view them and on our YouTube channel or on our webpage. Our next session is going to be on April 17th at 10 a.m. This will be our last session of the school year, and we'll be covering comprehensive career exploration for all learners. We will demonstrate specifically how the career quiz and the career explorer can be beneficial for your students as early as 7th grade. And as we've been talking about the curriculum as well, getting started with our students early on in middle school and continuing to build that with them throughout their years, this session will continue to talk about that as well. So again, if you've missed any of these sessions, or if you're just learning about them for the first time, feel free to access our recordings on our website. And of course, if you haven't had a chance to check out our new and improved network newsletter, thank you, Jared. This is a great month to start. In the March edition, we covered the Texas OnCourse College and Career Readiness Curriculum, along with the Academy resources to help support your students' college and career readiness journey. We also have a new edition of Advi Corner, where we asked virtual Advi advisor Sergio Nunez to share a bit about his professional journey, along with providing tips and tricks for students to get ahead of and start on their career exploration. And if you're not familiar with Advi, it is our favorite chat box. So get familiar with Advi. We'll send some links for you so that you can learn a little bit more about Advi as well. And then in our April edition of the Texas OnCourse newsletter, it will be sent out on April 2nd, and it will cover financial aid resources provided by the Texas OnCourse Academy. So those are some fun things to look out for. As well as, I know I mentioned you can find all of our information on our website, but you also can on our YouTube channel as well. So feel free to access us at Texas OnCourse. That being said, we're going to go back to our chat and to our Q&A. If you put any questions in the chat, please put them in the Q&A so we make sure that we address them all. And we'll be able to use this time to answer any of your questions that you guys have.
I know I did see a question kind of at the very beginning that Jamie did address about some of the links within the curriculum. Jamie did respond to that specific question. Thank you so much, Jamie. Just saying that we did update all of the links within the curriculum. They should be active. If you do run into one that's not active, please put in a ticket. We'll make sure to fix it and then also send you the new updated link. And then we had another question about super scoring. And this was one that I actually tried to respond to in the chat, but I thought that I would let Yvonne respond. I don't know, Yvonne, if you just kind of want to reiterate what you said. I saw you answered in the chat, but if you just want to quickly reiterate what super scoring means.
Yes, so super scores are for SAT testing, and as a student takes an SAT, they receive a particular score for each portion of the subject. So reading, math, writing, and in essence, if a child takes the SAT more than 2 times, then those scores will be sent, if they send them accordingly, to the university of their choice. And that university in return can say, oh, look, this day, this child went really good on English. And then, but they didn't do so hot on math. I wonder how they did on their other tests. And guess what? Normally it reverses itself. Normally then the student does really well in a math and not so well in the English, just because they've studied one more subject harder than the other. So then the university itself says, oh, well, I like this score, and then I'm going to take this score. And they choose to do that. The universities choose to do that. So we don't know exactly which universities do it, but we know that some do. And feel free to ask the university, do you ever super score your SATs? Because if you do, then I will send you more of my scores. They're not used to hurt a student. They're used to enhance a student's admissions process. And sometimes, even sometimes, it enhances merit scholarships.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Yvonne. I really
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that. And it looks like all of our questions were answered in the Q&A. Again, thank y'all so much. Do you have any other questions?
If you don't have any other questions, thank you so much for joining us today. And if you do, go ahead and drop those into the Q&A and we'll answer them, or you can always email us. But we would love to hear your feedback and just want to continuously update you guys on everything that is coming through. So if you don't mind just filling out this quick survey, it's only a couple questions, that would be amazing. And of course, as we mentioned, we will be sending you guys the presentation as well as the recording and the resource document after this session. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you guys so much for coming.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, thank you.
Thank y'all.